with these videos, we're aiming to create an online library where if you don't manage to come to Full Circle or any of our events that we think are worth putting up, you can come in your own time and look at this video and learn about the topic.
Hello to everyone. My name is Raul, and like Henry says, I am part of Catholic Relief Services. Catholic Relief Services is a non-profitable organization that works with the U.S. Catholic Church and develop different kind of projects. Right now we are talking about agriculture, specifically the coffeelands project. Coffeelands is a program inside of Catholic Relief Services that is working in different countries. We're working in Central America, Guatemala, Honduras, Nicaragua, and El Salvador, my home country. And we're talking in South America with Colombia, Ecuador, Brazil, and 3 more countries in Africa, Ethiopia, Congo, and I don't remember the last one, I'm sorry. So and also all the different projects that we have are working in 138 countries more. So, in 2010, CRS was working on these countries, Nicaragua, Honduras, and El Salvador, in a different project that was called Mi Cuenca, or My Watershed. And this project, we were trying to figure it out, or set all the infrastructure to take all the drinking water to different communities. But there was a huge problem that we didn't see. There was not enough water to take to all the communities. So we started to think about what is necessary to work, and we discovered one of the most dangerous threats for the drinking water in our countries, the coffee milling. So we started to work with these plants, these coffee mills, and the coffee plantations. So that was born Blue Harvest. Blue Harvest was born to work in the different coffee lands and the coffee mills to improve the infiltration of water and to improve all the process to avoid the contamination. We started with Curing Green Mountain Foundation, and they pay all the first stage of the project, and then SAFE, IDB, and FOMIN started to work in a second stage that was the value chain of the coffee. So I think the water problem is a global problem. So I will show different articles and people that says that it was the World Economic Forum has highlighted that water threats among the top 5 threats impacting the world economy. So if you have to buy water, what else would you have to buy? You will prefer to buy water. We live from water. The DRWakefield blueprint says that water sources are at risk. In our countries, this is a matter of fact. It's true. It is very true. We don't have enough water to all the people that live there. The deforestation on poor agricultural practices are degrading watersheds, unmanaged urban expansion. We are more people, we need more houses. So we are covering all the watersheds with cement? With cement? Cement, yeah, okay. So that's affecting us of all the water that we consume. Water insecurity is prevalent in the coffeelands. All the people that live on the coffeelands need to walk several miles, several kilometers to get water. They need to go and bring the water to their homes. Most of the times, this labor it is up to women and little child. The water crisis has threatened many countries in the coffeelands. As you can see, El Niño is hit us several times. There is a huge problem. Do we not have enough rain? We don't have enough rain. The dry corridor of Central America suffers 5 straight years of agricultural drought on 2012 to 2016. And water security has become a major regional priority. This is a case that was on Matagalpa. 7,000 families were without water during 2 weeks because of a coffee mill contamination. This study, has Tortillas on the Roster, says that all the major impact of the climate change is where the agricultural practices have not been adapted to work on that. So we have this other project that is working with us. They have proved this water smart agriculture that is working with us in Blue Harvest. That has been studying maize production. On the graded soils, they have found that minus 32% of the production is what they are producing. But in healthy soils, in a normal production, only minus 1.1 is the effect of the climate change. So we need to adapt all the agricultural practices to improve all the harvest. Okay, what about our coffee regions? The hillside landscapes, above 300% of slopes. There is a huge deforestation because, El Salvador and all Central America was hit by rust. And when coffee stops to be profitable, all the people changed all the plantations. They took coffee, and maybe they plant maize or beans. That doesn't help to infiltrate water. Extensive grazing, shallow soils, high risk for erosion, low productivity, and increasing water stress is all that is affecting all these countries. And also, 60% of the rural population is extremely poor. Coffee agroforestry is the best agricultural option for restoring these watersheds. So we were talking, I said that coffee was a huge threat, but coffee is also the best way to restore all these infiltrations zones, that is watersheds. So it's because of all these water threats is because if there is no coffee, will be more degradation, deforestation, no shade, and all these practices that have been used, people just burn all the land to change the plantation, and that's what's affecting us. So CRS and CATIE made this study. So as you can see, we have about 29 million Central Americans depends on coffeelands for their water supply. As you can see, all the different colors marks coffeelands, potable water sources, and populations. The coffee doesn't look because water is above it. So they are at the same place. Coffeelands and potable water sources are in the same place. And the populations are all surrounding them. So that's why it's important to keep all the coffeelands productive. Okay, this Sustainable Development Goals says that the greatest potential to secure water is to improve the management of the agricultural lands. That's what we're talking about. That's why Blue Harvest was born. That's why Blue Harvest is working to improve the agricultural practices and to improve also this market and business that maybe the producers don't have access. So one of the goals is universal access to safe water for all, and access to sanitation and hygiene for all. All the several goals what Blue Harvest has been took and working on that. Also, SCA has this publication, Blueprint for Water Security in Coffeelands, that CRS was one of the primary contributors. Paul Hicks was one of the people that wrote this paper. So they have 6 recommendations. Know the source, not only of the water, also you need to know the source of your coffee. Promote water smart farming practices. That's what I will talking about later. Promote water smart milling practices and technologies. We have been working with changing different things about washed coffee, using new methods like honey processes, natural processes, and trying to save water and to treat all the water that is wasted. Another key recommendation is creating safeties for water smart practices. So the people that work on that need to spend more money to make that water practices. So maybe it's time to create incentives on that. Build consumer awareness about water through coffee. It's very important that the consumers know the importance, the relevance of coffee at the origin, because all the people that has coffee on the countries depends on coffee to have water. At the industry level, make a strategic collaboration. I think this is one big step. We came from Central America to talk about this. It's very important for us, and thank you for the opportunity. So, we were talking about Blue Harvest. First of all, we would like to say Blue Harvest was born like a project in 2014, 2012, 2014. But right now is the principal line to work at the CRS new projects, and we are talking about all that has been done is to improve this watersheds and to improve the market access for all these people. We promote water smart agriculture, we promote water smart milling, and the value chains and price risk management. So, 3 high impact practices of the climate resilient coffee. We were talking about good planting practices and soil preparations. I'm talking about mulch. I was hearing a lot of mulch in the last speech, and cover crops, and soil fertility management. So we're working with different nurseries, different varieties, different levels of the height levels, and we have been looking for what market asks. We have Pacamara at the toppest, Bourbon middles, and we have all this Catimor at the lowest altitude. So, also working with mulch, we are looking to natural. We are using like Canavalia, it's like a big bean that cover all the soil. We are working with Gandul. Gandul is a pea. It's like a pea. When this grow up and we cut it off, we left it on the field. Also, we are using cacao. Cacao provides a lot of shade, and also all these leaves that falls covers all the soils. And we're working about soil fertility management. We're working on regulating pH to 4.5 to 5.5 is the best way to work, and allows to the plant to have all the fertilizer, all the nutrients to have a very good productivity. Okay, manage soils and water. We're talking about this acidic soils. We have Central America have too much acidic soils. All these coffee plantation never has been regulating all this acidity, so we are talking about control that. Okay. We're trying to get all the root growing, accessible nutrients. What we're talking is controlled by that. Use of fertilizers. that was we're trying to compare that when they put the fertilizers, only 30% of the actual soil is being used. So with regulating all the acidity, 70% of that fertilizer is being used right now. So this improves and it reduce the cost of the use of this, because improves the productivity of the plant. What is managed soils to manage water? So I was talking about all this coverage that is on the soil. The fact that we want is to increase the productivity of water, of Greek water, increase water infiltration into subsurface, and decrease the surface of runoff of blue water. So what's runoff? Runoff is everything that goes down to the hill of the water that fell on the rain. So that's what we're trying to stop, and increase all this evaporation and increase the infiltration on the soils. That's why we need all this coverage on the soils. We need coffee to stop the rain. We are planting at a triangle method. We are trying to all the flow needs to be slowed back so the soil has the opportunity to infiltrate. Because there is no coverage, all the water will run off and the soil will not have enough time to infiltrate on the hill, so at the mountain. That's so important because all this water that is infiltrated fills all the springs that goes inside the mountain and took over the springs and water sources that are being used to fill all these water systems around the coffee lands. Manage soils to manage water. We reduce runoff and erosion, improves water infiltrations, increases soil humidity. In El Salvador, it's very common right now that all the streets gets all this mud that comes from the mountain. We have very huge problems. Santa Ana is one city that is inundado. Flooding, yeah, it's already flooding. So there is a huge problem to keep if we don't keep the water of the mountain. So we have been experimenting 5% increase on the soil moisture, and we have been infiltrating 200 cubic meters of water per hectare. We are using different methods. We are using like mulching and different plant methods, practices that we'll see. That increased agricultural productivity, drought resiliences. When we started Blue Harvest, the people was producing maybe 2 bags per hectare. And right now in Honduras, we have 40 bags per hectare. In El Salvador, we are going to 20 bags per hectare. So there's a huge change because from 2 bags to 20 is a lot of more coffee. Well, what's the impact of this? In Honduras, we are using 12 hectares of all these agricultural systems. There is plantain, cacao, coffee, all the different plants that we have. 12 of the hectares fills 1 container. Yeah, 12. Yeah, to wake. To wake, exactly.
Our sacks of coffee have grown legs as well. They changed the logo. That's been changed.
Yeah, I know. So, as you can see, also we're using Blue Harvest to recognize all these practices. So, these 12 hectares produces 1 container. 1 container of 275 bucks. And that's helping us to improve the infiltration of 2,400 cubic meters. And that helps because 91 cubic meters are used for 1 family. So we are helping 27 families to have water for 1 year. That's important. it's very important to keep all this at the time, be sustainable at the time, because we need water to these families at the future. So that's important. That's all the important thing about coffee and water. And as you will see, we need more hectares that sustainable hectares to improve the water access to more than, in one case, that is San Carlos II, that was the one that was filling this container for Wakefield. There are 11,000 people that depends on the water of these lands.
So coffee agriculture is benefiting not only the water for 27 families, but an income, potentially 27 families. They're having a family income as well from selling the coffee.
The people that sell the coffee is 250. So, but all 11 and 7,000 people, they have access to water, to drinking water. So the thing that is happening is that the people that receive the water is helping to the farmers to decrease the cost, helping with the practices. They put daily labor, and they are helping the farmers to improve all these practices that we have been talking about. And it's kind of, it was very exciting when I was watching that all the people was going up to the mountain and to work for free to get water on their houses. Yeah. So good coffee management equals to good watershed management. If we treat coffee well, we will have water for the people. It's very important for us. At the morning, you saw one map of all El Salvador. All this country has 6 mountain ranges that produce coffee. All the water comes from that mountain range. So I live in one Apaneca y Lamatepec mountain range, very close, and it's true. We are having problems with this water. I am one of the lucky ones because I don't have water once at one in the month or 2 months, but there is people that only have water 1 day at the month. So that's a huge problem. So sustainable coffee agroforestry systems can be the best agricultural alternative for healthy, functional watersheds. Second, only to natural forest. If coffee is not sustainable, all the people will change, not for natural forest, will change for different kind of plantation that will stop this water infiltration. So that's maize, beans, or everything. So what I was trying to say is no one will change coffee farms to natural forest. It will be several damage if they change coffee lands to another kind of plantation. So the Blue Harvest walls are resilient rain-fed agriculture production for smallholders. We have very small producers working with us. Secure water supply for downstream communities. We have been working with these communities. As I told you, they are working for free to help all the farmers to improve this profitability. So the active goals also works on 3 levels. We're working on landscape scale, identifying water sources and farms in watersheds that has been already identified. Farm scale, improving farms, and community, empowering local actors to manage water supplies and sustainability. At the level of the landscape, we're working to restore all these plantations. We are about to start 2 new projects that will take Blue Harvest as the principal line for 12 and 3 years in different lands. And we're working on Apaneca, Lamatepec, Aguachapán will work for 12 years. And Cacahuatique, there's another mountain range, we will work for another 3 years, trying to improve all this landscape and benefit all these watersheds that have been treated. Farm scale, well, we are working with water smart agriculture, managing all the soils. And communities, pues, well, we are working with all this water system administration to improve. Also, there is a huge problem with them. They haven't been too well organized, so we have people that is working with them to help all this. And we have been working also with all the pipe systems to improve it, to restore it. We have another program that is called Azure that provides financing to change all the water systems and improve it. And community scale, Carlos is there on the photo. He's working with all the communities. He is the one in charge on Honduras. So we have been working not with all the farmers, not only with the farmers. There are also another organization that has been working with us and helping us because we need a lot of help. We don't cover everything. There is NCBA CLUSA from the US too. Different local governments that has been working with us too to establish all these things because, you know, if there is no water, the people will don't have access to life and all this sanitation and everything. That's one of Opalaca Reserve. That is, this is our watershed. We have been identified. It's in Opalaca, Honduras, no? Okay. Okay. This watershed feeds all these towns that are surrounded and market there. So what we're talking about is, you know, the people has to know their souls and know their crops. Gilberto has been working with us since Mi Cuenca, the last project, 2010, and he is working right now with an importer from the US. That is the very first time that he sells to an importer. So he only produced 11 bags, but those 11 bags has been worked with all these practices, and he copied 86. So in the honey process, so it's like a micro lot. He's having $2.15 per pound, or something like that, plus the cost of millings. So $2.15 is just for implementing all these practices, and he's very happy. We are about to send this coffee maybe next week. I will be there. I hope that wasn't this week, but it will be the next week. So the first thing that he said, the first thing that I recommended was to analyze the soil, to know what we had. Several producers doesn't have this analysis, doesn't know what the soil has, doesn't know what is the state of the soil. So that's our first recommendation. And now he says you could really tell the difference once I understood how to read the plant's growth. That's very important. They have to know what is going on, what's happening with the plant, and they will have this kind of crops. The face says everything. It's very different at the both pictures. So he has been working very hard. So we have been working with these 4 things. That is the source. We got to know the source of this fertilization. We have to know what to work, and we have to know the rate. There is people that is applying half the fertilizer that they used to, and getting better results because they treated the soil. The place, they're starting to see the difference to applying fertilizers when the plants need it. So they have to put it in the right place and the right time too. So there is very different practices that have been changing. So there is people that used to throw the fertilizer or something like that, and we are using all this. No, you need to. You don't need to throw it. You need to put it on the line that the plant feels. So there is a lot of changes. Maybe we have been kind of slow, but there is a lot of changes. We have to improve. We have improved water infiltration, and these people has access to different markets right now. So there is some pictures about all those practices that have been used. Terraces, because they stop the flow, they slow the speed of the water, so that allows to infiltrate and get better soil moisture. Vegetative cover, ground cover, there is some mulching. It's like a kind of mulching or covers. Or this is mulching also. We are using these leaves to stop water. That provides and protect them from the high temperatures that has been very common on those countries. Infiltration ditches or holes. We stop water here. There is different sizes of these infiltration ditches that we're using to keep water. Some ones has 3 cubic meters, 2 cubic meters. So they stop these cubic meters, and all this water infiltrates and helps to the plants to get all the moisture that they need. And we get all the infiltration that is going to be available to drinking water down the hill. Well, ground cover, there is this is part of the cocoa that they use leaves and also the coffee leaves. It helps to improve this.
Raul, this is after and before.
Oh, this is okay.
After and before.
Before
It's the same place.
and after.
It's the same place.
Okay, it's the same place. Okay, it's in Honduras. Okay. I'm from El Salvador. Before and after.
So it's after, before, and
No, before and after. Yeah. It's the same tree. No? I think. Okay. Well, we're using libraries. This is gandul or the pea that we're using to stop water. Using all these plants, different gandul and canavalia that we're using on different mountain ranges to stop all the water flow.
What are the other plants for? Are they, you eat them, or are they just for mulching, cutting to mulch, or do they produce another crop?
They produce, this produce kind of a pea, but this, this used for to eat. Yeah, see? It's like they can eat it. All this they can be used to feed, or they can be used to set another to keep the seed. It's up to the producer. If also to feed the cows and everything. There is several uses that they can use that they can have. Very several.
What are the grassy ones at that? Because these are all like flood mitigation plants, aren't they, to help stop any watersheds?
Yes, this stops all the erosion, runoff of the water. It's going the water when all the runoff hits these barriers, that stops and decrease all the speed and the strength that they have. So this stops erosion and helps to infiltrate water. That's
basically we're doing the same schemes in the English Lake District to try and stop flooding into Cockermouth and Carlisle and Lancaster. That we get planting new barriers and mitigation plants to stop it.
Yeah.
Not those plants.
Okay. Sorry. Okay. Oh, we're using shade cover. We're trying to improve this shade. There is a different kind of shades. As we said, we're using cocoa. We're using these plantains. There is, I think, it's pine, fruital trees. It depends on what the producer wants, because or what is available to work with it. Because fruital trees gives you food. plantains give you food, cacao. This gives a diversification. So there is, it's up to the producer what he needs and he wants with his objectives. So this is an update of the project. 3,143 producers and local stakeholders actively participating in blue harvest initiatives in Central America, working directly with 2,275 coffee farmers in El Salvador, Honduras, and Nicaragua. 73,545 people are benefiting indirectly downstream from improvers to water sources. So there's 47 water systems have been improved. 49 million liters of water has been saved in repairing broken pipes and improving water infrastructure. That is, Azure is working. Currently, 770 hectares of land are being managed under sustainable agricultural best practices. 40,000 hectares of land are around priority water sources are being protected. 685 coffee mills have been implemented improved water efficiency practices, because in Honduras and Nicaragua there is a lot of small mills that was contaminating all the water. In El Salvador is different. We have bigger milling mills. So there's what we were talking about. 3 million liters of water saved annually through improved coffee milling practices. So 849 producers have been renovated farms. And 1 million new seedling have been planted, something like that.
Good job.
Thank you. Thank you.